Ladies, gentlemen, am I often forgotten, but certainly not by me. Dragon Battle Axes, welcome to the channel, and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be discussing the new Vestments armor and what I think about it kind of in general as a new armor set for Melee, and I'm going to be showing how I've implemented it at Raksha. In my opinion, this is quite the fun armor set and is quite a welcomed addition to Melee, so let's go ahead and get right into this video. So what is the Vestments armor? This is a new armor dropped by the Zamorak boss that just came out at the beginning of the month, and it is a 4-piece armor set for Melee. It has a tier 100 damage, but only tier 70 defense, and is classed as a tier 95 armor set. So it does a lot of damage, has defense levels of Bando's armor. It's basically a glass cannon setup. Think of in Counter-Strike where you would glass cannon with just an op and no armor and you're just going the full YOLO. That's what this armor is. This armor is full YOLO armor. There are several set effects with this armor depending on how many pieces you're equipping, starting with 2. After casting an ultimate ability, you regenerate 15% adrenaline over 18 seconds, and if you cast another ultimate inside of that 18-second window, you instantly get an extra 20%. So, in practical terms, what this means is once you press Berserk, you get 15% free adrenaline over 18 seconds, which is helpful. It does, it's not nothing, to be fair. It's a free threshold, adrenaline-wise, inside of your ultimate. However, if you cast Overpower inside of that 18-second duration, it's only going to cost you, X amount of adrenaline, because if you're using COE and you're using other things, if you have the Vigor passive, it's already costing like 40%, whereas with this, it'll only cost 20% because you have COE, you have Vigor, and then you're getting the instant 20% adrenaline from the set effect when you use Overpower within this window. So it's definitely worthwhile in a Zerk rotation to Overpower early, or at least within the 18-second window. If you add a third piece of armor on, you get an extra 6 seconds in your Berserk, which is massive. This is probably one of the best things to come with this armor set in terms of a melee upgrade, simply because Berserk is a very powerful ultimate. The other two ultimates, Death, Swiftness, and Sunshine, they only increase damage by 50%, whereas Berserk increases damage by 100%. It is literally doubling your damage for the duration of time that it's active. So to get an extra 6 seconds, so you have a 26-second Zerk, that is extreme as far as damage is concerned. Now, what can be done rotation-wise is you can add in things like 2 Hurricanes. Some people are experimenting, I think, with double Destroy, but I don't think you get the full effects from Destroy when you do this, because you have to barge and do a couple other things. Maybe with pre-barging, I could see this working. I still have to do some tests with some rotations. I have a few ideas in my head. However, as far as it pertains to Raksha, which is what this video is about, I would say it's mostly just nice for allowing you to get more time with basics while building and still hitting 10Ks with those basics. The last piece, if you have all 4 equipped, is you get your maximum adrenaline increased by 20, which is probably the Berserk by 6 seconds. That's the biggest one here, but this is a very, very close second. Like, these are interchangeable for how good they are, being that Melee has always been adrenaline-starved since kind of like the dawn of time. It's always been kind of an adrenaline-starved combat style, especially when they added in EZK, and people were trying to get EZK and ZGS in at the same time, and so it's always been very cooldown and adrenaline locked as a combat style. So being able to increase your max adrenaline by 20 is massive, especially now with things like Jaws of the Abyss factoring in with bleed adrenaline. You can gain a lot of adrenaline, and Melee now with this armor set is a very free combat style. It feels very free to me. It feels very open. I can just do kind of what I want, and the adrenaline most likely is going to be there. Now, obviously, the drawback with this armor set is that you are a walking one-tick, essentially. This armor has basically no defense, and it's all about putting out damage. So things to consider is you probably want to be good at soul split flicking to get back as much HP as possible. That's a good skill set to have in general for this game. However, for this armor set, I would say it's a little bit more necessary just because you do need to get back as much HP as possible. If you're doing kind of like elite dungeons or your trash mob clearing, you know, something like that, or you're killing off some minions or something, you could vamp scrim, or if you're on a non-DPS sensitive part of a boss fight, you could be using vamp scrim. However, I would be using Grim with this set to take full advantage of it, and we'll get more into that in the worn equipment, but I just wanted to go over kind of the what actually vestments is. This is the preset I was using for doing Raksha kills, and it was getting me anywhere from, once I got used to the rotation, it was anywhere from 220s to 240s, and I have had a couple of PBs with this armor set currently. This preset I have done a 215 with using basically just casual strats. I'm not going for pool skips or anything like that, anything fancy. It's just going for just doing damage, killing the pools, and doing more damage, and then melting P4. That's the kind of the general strategy that I've been using, and I assume that most people are using at Raksha. So to break down this preset in short, the items that are missing from this preset that you might see other people bringing, there is no ZGS or ZGS EOF, there is no whip that I have, the Scourge whip or whatever it's called, the tier 92. I personally don't bother with it, I don't like using it a whole lot, and there was no SGB swap in this preset. I just don't like changing my binds over a whole lot for off-style SGB. I don't have a physical one right now, and I don't want to bring the extra 3 items so I could do like a Ruby SGB with like a physical ECB or something. I'm just not interested in doing that for straight farming kills. One, I can just make a simple melee rotation that does the kill times that work for me. So the things that are in this preset are obviously the vestments armor. I am using the full 4-piece set of the full 4-piece set. I have Gloves of Passage. They do have the upgrade enchantment, so instead of 25% extra damage on bleeds when using Havoc, I'm getting 40%, and it has the extra effect of the next ability gets an extra 7% damage, so it is nice. I do like the Passage Gloves, being that Raksha is not poisonable. Might as well just use the best in slot non-poison gloves, which are Passage Gloves. I bring both Champion's Ring and Weaver's Ring to this boss. I'd simply use Champions just for accuracy purposes. At the Adrenaline Crystal and Wars, I will DBA and Lang Spec, and then I just use the Champion's Ring to help out with accuracy because I don't want to use Quake or Stat Warhammer or anything in my rotation and have things splashing before it, so the ring switch is what makes most sense to me. It's the simplest solution to the accuracy problem that can happen at Raksha. I'm always on Zerk Aura, so there's that for reference, and Reaver's Ring is for once the DBA effect has worn off, then I just swap over to that and I'm off to the races. The 2 EOFs I have are an EZK EOF, that is the red one that is worn, and I have a D-Claw EOF in the inventory. I use this on P4 exclusively. I have tried it on P3, but going into P4, low adrenaline is not the most ideal situation, so only if I get a bunch of crit adrenaline P3 do I go ahead and hit 1D claw or 2. However, on P4 it is very helpful for deleting the boss when everything's working in your favor and all the hits are there and crit chances, you know, going through the roof, because your max hit potential in theory is like 30k with all the buffs and whatnot, so you're gonna see more max hits regardless. And it's a lot of fun there, so the physical EZK is just a cleave swap. It is 100% not necessary. If you want to, just bring your spear. That is perfectly fine for cleave. It is pretty extra to have a physical EZK plus the one in the EOF. Now, if you have a physical EZK and you don't have it in an EOF, you are right now doing yourself a disservice, because the reason for having it in an EOF is not for doing the stall method to help get more bleeds off inside of the EZK. It is simply from the fact that the spear effect works on the EZK bleed, extending its life by 50%. So As long as that's still in the game and that still functions the way it is, I would highly suggest having an EZK inside of the EOF. And if you have the spare money, say you got a bunch of Greco drops recently or something like that, go ahead and bring the physical EZK if you have it, but if you don't sweat it, it's not that big of a deal. Scythe and the Laceration boots are there just for clearing out pools. Melee, even with all of this fun armor, pool skips are not exactly the most consistent thing in the world right now. I believe Evil Lucario was testing some rotations. It hasn't been fully developed yet, so there is some optimization to be going on still. However, it seems like pool skips are not consistent enough for Melee to go for, which is fine for me. I'm fine with not going for pool skips, so I just bring a Scythe and Laceration boots, and I swap to those for bladed diving around the pools, and it's a nice way to get adrenaline, because there was no mobile on any part of the armor set. I don't have mobile anywhere on Melee, and it's just really nice for getting adrenaline. Plus, I do like to use a Meteor Strike before I start bladed diving around the room, so any crits that happen on the pools, you're also getting adrenaline from, so it's a very nice and quick way to get back up to 120% adrenaline. Other than that, the food is really simple. You honestly don't use a whole lot of... Surprisingly, if you prayer flick at Raksha, you don't use a lot of food even in glass cannon armor. The Vit Pot is there just for surviving the rockfall on phase 2. And I'm using a Ripper Demon, that's why you see the 2 spirituals there. I could bring a 3rd spiritual probably if I was really efficient about Ripper, but this is more of just a farming preset. I'm not taking this, 100% seriously. I'm not treating this like a speed PB hunting type kill every single kill. I'm just here to, get efficient enough kills so I can keep progressing for the log completion. Last but not least, I do bring Jaws of the Abyss. I hope one day that this becomes a passive, or you can combine this with an item to become another type of enchantment that is bound to your account. However, right now it is not, and I don't see any plans for that to happen, so right now if you want the extra adrenaline from bleeds, you do have to swap helms, which honestly is not too bad. It's basically just wear this helm while you're using your EZK, and then when you're in a Zerk or building up for a Zerk, you swap back to the other helm. You're not having to swap this helm all too often. It's not the worst thing in the world, and I just bring it for the extra adrenaline. It makes getting adrenaline during your EZK rotation very easy, especially if you want to try and get off a Meteor Strike to make your Zerk go bananas. And that's about it as far as switches are concerned. And Luck of the Dwarf is just a superstitious type thing for getting a drop here. I'm trying to do anything I can because personally, I am quite dry for a Shadow Spike here, so I need all the help I can get on that front. But other than that, the Defender is just there as a shield swap. It's mostly just for stalling adrenaline. And that's about it. I don't really use it all too often, but I do bring it here just in case. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and do the example kill now. Got my preset loaded up, everything all set. I do use Lantidime and Spiritweed Incense just to help out with potion times and Ripper spam and whatnot, but go ahead and get adrenaline, hit DBA, swap back to the Lang. And then I turn on my Grim with the Lang spec. We got a Relent proc, so it doesn't matter, but you would just fill up your gen anyways. Turn on Prayers, hit Start, Surge, Surge again, Devotion, Zerk with Apot, TC Barge. Basic, second basic, 4-tick in a Smoke Cloud with the Assault Bleed, Overpower, Hurricane into a Destroy. Decimate as I run away, do another basic, and then I do a basic, Chaos Roar, EZK with the Vit Pot, Bleed, run under for a Slaughter Walk, do a couple basics, and then hit a Tendies, and then just proceed to do damage to try and finish the phase. We happen to get the phase there, so now I'll toss on a 5th bleed, or a 4th bleed technically. Hit my Meteor Strike. Get some, wait for that text. Now we can start bladed diving around the room. Now be warned, for me, sometimes these bladed dives don't work. Haven't really figured out why. Like that one didn't work, but oh well. And Zerk and Barge. Click the things, try not to die. Hurricane will usually kill that one. If not, you can go ahead and Flurry. And then I'll go ahead and hit my Overpower because I can. Or low Adrenaline, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Hit a basic to walk in with. Put on the Helm, call the Familiar, hit a few more basics, and then I'll go ahead and Roar. Hit my Easy K EOF, and then start using Bleeds. Hit the Havoc so I get the extra damage on it. And then start building up for an ultimate. Here I usually run out and stall the ability and bring it back in. As you can see, I just sort of run out, in and out. And here I'll Havoc. I'll Length Spec when this comes up, hit a basic, put the other helm back on, do another basic, and then start bladed diving towards the back. And then I anticipate. Zerk. Hit the extra action button. Disrupt this. Bleed your assault. Go ahead and hit that. Overpower with a Declaw, and then I'll Limitless into a Hurricane, destroy. And that Zerk you can be a little bit more lenient with, or liberal with your rotation, so to speak. And you can just do whatever you want. I usually just go for the Bleed Assault and the Overpower into a Declaw, and then I'll just Limitless for Hurricane. Or if I get a bunch of crit return, like Adrenaline-wise, then you can hit another Declaw just fine. And just kind of play with that P4 rotation and see what works for you. But as you can see, kill time was 229. That's about right. Anywhere in the 220s is usually what I'm aiming for. However, sometimes kills do go a little bit slower because Zerk sometimes can min hit. And, you know, it's kind of annoying. And then it goes into, like, the 240 range, high 230s, low 240. But it's still a pretty consistent rotation. I'll do hours here, and my kill times won't vary too much as long as I follow that specific rotation. Ladies, gentlemen, and I did not forget about you Dragon Battle Axes. Thank you very much for watching this video till the end. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And other than that, have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, nighttime, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I will see you next time for the next video. Peace.